Bismillahirrahmanirrahim and Assalamualaikum girls. I hope you all are doing good. So now is our second round of the second part of the lecture that was Intro to Environment and Environmental Sciences. So up till now we have done the a general a general perception about the environment, and then the environmental science. Okay, we have done few major root causes which are behind the major environmental problems, and then we have discussed the multidisciplinary nature of the environmental studies. um, yeah, almost these things, and then we have done the thing that like why environmental science grew as a whole discipline, as a whole new subject. Okay, so now we will come towards the key themes of environmental studies. So there are some important key themes. Number one is the human population growth. That is an environmental problem. Okay, I've told you uh, the population is increasing day by day with a very rapid rate, and some countries are trying to stop this to a sustainable level, but many of them are not, especially in the Africa and in the Asia. Okay, which are the most, like, the biggest, the largest continents. So I've also talked about the Black Death period in the UK. Okay, although these things happen, although major earthquakes have arrived and they have made very large destructions, but still there the population, it is growing very fastly, very rapidly. So the trends of population growth, they remained inconsistent in developing countries and in the underdeveloped countries. Okay, in throughout the human history. So another thing is the sustainability. It is our goal. It is the environmental goal. As you all know, there are finite resources of Earth, and we all have to utilize them very wisely, and we have to pass them on to our next generations without compromising its quality and quantity. So the Earth has a specific um, it has a specific ability, a specific capacity to carry the all the living beings. Okay, we cannot say that because Earth is very large, it's a very large place, very large land. So there are forests, we can cut down them and we can live over there. Like large and large populations can live. No, it is not the case. They can they can stand, but they cannot survive. They cannot live because the resources are finite. Okay, so sustainability is our main issue, like how to maintain the environment, the population growth, and to manage the natural resources in a wise way. Then is the urbanization, that is the environmental orientation. Like many people, um, they want to settle in a better place for a better lifestyle. They want more security, they want more things, better things for their generations. Okay, for themselves, they need better house, better living. So as you can see here, in developed countries around 75% population lives in cities, while in developing countries this figure is around 40%. So now you can imagine the urbanization trend. Like developed the country, more and more people wants to migrate from the countryside areas to the urbanized areas. So what is happening, the cities are getting very dense, very much populated. Do you all know which city of the world is most populated and most dense? So you can just pause the video and think of it, or you can search on it so that you will never forget. So that is Hong Kong, the a very very densely populated area. In there, the resources are very much like very high rates it has. People are living okay, and also the settlement is vertical settlement, like they are not living on the single houses, they are living in the flats which are like heights and blocks. Okay, 10 floor, 100 floor, like this. So these things are happening with that, because all of them and most of them, especially the youth, they move towards the um, urbanized area to earn as much as possible for their better lifestyles. And what happens that they leave their children and their old ones behind in the rural areas. So what is happening, the rural areas, it is becoming like the youth, the young population is decreasing over there in the rural areas, but in the urban areas, the youth is increasing. So that is again an imbalance. Okay, so due to this imbalance, obviously the things gets worse. So we will discuss it in detail in the urban sprawl lecture. So this factor has shifted the environmental focus on urban issues than previous issues of wilderness, species, natural resources, forest, species, wildlife. Like before these mega cities were built, we were focusing on these things, the environment, the threats to the natural species, why they are becoming endangered, and on our natural resources, their rate of replenishing. But now, because of the rate of urbanization, our focus has just shift. Okay, so the last thing is the sorry, it is not the last thing, but the major thing is the global perspective. Our environmental actions, they affect the whole globe. Like you all know, the greenhouse effect, the global warming, the climate change, and the ozone depletion. We will do all these in detail. Okay. Then comes the people and nature. This theme elaborates that the people and nature are interrelated. What does nature means? Nature means all the physical cycles, all the chemical cycles, all the living beings, all the non-living beings which were naturally present. Okay, so all these things have relationship with humans. Humans affect them, they affect human. In both, there is a two-way linkage. Okay, and it can be positive and it can be negative both. So we must seek sustainability so that both can persist together sustainably. Okay. Science and values. Science relies on critical thinking to make decisions about nature. So some standards include, there should be clarity, accuracy, precision, relevance, depth, breadth, logic, and fairness. Our values deals with judgment on environmental issues, like do we really have those ethics to value our environment, to value our mother nature, to do we have that kind heart that we feel pity on the environment, and we feel bad on ourselves that we are, that impacts we are imposing on our environment. So these are the values which we have and which we give to the value which we give uh, to the environment. Okay, so we have to make trade-offs between science standards and our values in case of environmental choices. So there comes another thing. There are three approaches involved in environmental sciences. Number one is the developmental approach, then is the conservation approach, and then is the preservation approach. So as you can see, the name indicate developmental approach. Okay, in the developmental approach, the this approach only looks at the development, the economic development, okay, and the development of the nations, of the states, and they just focus on the use of the natural resource reservoir. Okay, the industrialization, modernization, agriculturism, all these things are included in the developmental approach, in which only the development is our concern. Like we say that my nation needs a factory of let's say cold drinks. Okay, so that is my development. I say that my nation needs a metro. Okay, a metro train or a metro bus. Or I say that my nation needs something like that, suppose sanitizers. Okay, so for that we need to build a factory, etc. So these things, so these are all developmental approaches. But then there is another approach, which is the preservation approach. So development was one extreme approach of economic development, and which used environment as a tool, the natural resource reservoirs as a tool. But now, in the preservation approach, that is another extreme approach of the environment, in which we only think about the environment. That is an ecocentric approach. Okay, our center is the ecosystem and the ecology, and we stick to that. We do not take care of the development of the society, of the uh, lifestyle, etc. We are only focusing on the environmental and ecological development, the on the sustainability of the mother nature, and we give the religious and cultural reasons for that. But there is a very good approach which includes two the good things of both of them. That is the conservation approach, in which we balance between these two, the development and the preservation. We think of the economic development and social development, and we take environmental goods to develop things, but we do not harm the environment, and also we think of the environment as well. We seek the ecocentric justification as well. So balancing is the most important thing. Whenever you maintain a balance between things, then things remains good always. So in the picture, can you see and can you point out like which of them is which approach? In the one you see man carrying a man who is carrying a tree. Okay, who's growing a tree on his hands. Then you can see the stacks of the industries and the pollution with that, and there's money on it. I will not make you understand what does it mean. You will make me understand. And then the third thing is there is some money and there is a plant also. So what do you think? What can be the which picture uh, describes which one of the approach perfectly? So here you can see that you will have to give me on slide number 20. There are three pictures. You have to point out each picture as one respective approach to environmental science. That are these approaches are written on the slide number 19. Okay, so let me show you. This is slide number 19. These are the three approaches which I have told you, and then this one is the three pictures. Okay, and you have to point out. So just write in your registers. Okay, after that comes the valuing the environment. So when we place value on the environment, okay, so we have different aspects. Okay, we have different justifications. We give many justifications to many people of different fields to let them know that environment has a very basic value. Number one is the economic justification. Economic justification means that all the development, all the economic activities, uh, they all need raw material, and that raw material comes from the nature, from the environment. Okay, so this is a thing like when you value an environment in front of an economist. Okay, so you can say that the nature is the reservoir of the natural resources, and without natural resources you cannot make anything. Okay, you want to build a flyover, you want to build another bridge, what you want cement, you want iron girders, you want bricks, etc., blocks. So what are all these made up of? Metals, mud, stones, okay, these things. So where these things are coming from? Not from the moon, okay, not from the Mars, from this our own planet Earth. So all the raw materials comes from the environment. So if we value our environment, if we protect it, then we will continue our economic growth and development. Then comes the ecological justification. As we all know that this ecosystem is a web. So in this web, everything is connected to one another in a positive or negative way, in a two-way manner, in a one-way manner. Like for example, as we all have read in the school classes that uh, grass needs solar energy for its food, and then grasshopper relies on the grass. Then mice or squirrel, etc., they rely on the grasshopper. And then the cat rely on that mice or that squirrel. And then you can say that other things, like lion, etc., okay. So these things, they all are connected to each other. At the end you will see a very large predators like hawks, lions, wolves, etc., or humans or bears, okay. So everything is connected to one another. So what does that mean? That if we exclude one thing from this cycle, then this cycle will break, okay, this will not continue. So we will say that the environment has an ecological value. All the living things and non-living things, they are connected to each other. Decreasing one thing or completely diminishing one thing from this web will lead to the uh, drastic effects on all the species included in the cycle. Then another thing is the aesthetic justification. This is the it defines that the environment gives us the aesthetic value. Aesthetic means, as you all know, it is the kind of a good look which natures give you, okay. The green plants, the greenery, the meadows, the waterfalls, the beautiful animals, okay. So environment gives you that aesthetic view. Even in the cities, as you see, like you just visit a park and you walk over there, you will feel so calm, you will feel psychologically so relaxed, okay. So these are all due to the aesthetic beauty of the environment. Then is the creative, okay. When you see the environment, when you see the colors of the different animals, birds, butterflies, etc., so you just see that how creative is Almighty Allah, how creatively He has made things, and you become creative too. Like, see, you can see in this, you can see snake of green color, black and white color, orange color, brown color, black color, every color. You can see these macaw parrots and African grey, cocktail, cockatoo, etc. You can see fish, various kinds of fish. They are so diverse in their sizes, in their colors, in their textures. Just see the octopus, how it camouflage itself. The frogs, they are of so many kinds, of so many beautiful colors. The cats and big cats and other monkeys, etc. So you can uh, get the concept of creativity due to the nature. Then is the moral justification. Moral justification is this thing that you give value to the environment because you have a good heart, you have a noble heart, you give value to your almighty God, okay, and you give value to the to his nature, to his blessings. So this is the moral value. You cannot waste them, okay? You cannot destroy them, because you have fear of Allah in your and you have love for Allah in your heart. Then is the recreational justification. It is the thing which I told you, like the parks, okay? Okay, the thing in the parks, like or in the other small gardens, they give recreational no the gardens, the small gardens, etc., they are the aesthetic justifications, but the parks, they are for the recreational areas. Any waterfalls, any lakes, okay, any other greener hilly um, areas, like our northern areas, these Kardu areas, other many areas in Pakistan and also in many countries, okay. So where we can go for tourism or to just freshen up ourselves. Then is the rational value. The rational value means the value with the facts and figures. When we give facts about the, yes, if we will cut all our trees, then we will get this much billions of you know the loss, okay, millions or billions of dollars of loss every year, etc., these kind of things. And that is the rational justification. Or if you can see, like we give justification, like if you will um, not stop the emission, or like pollution, the emission of gases, then what will happen? You will not, your asthma, your bronchitis, your heart diseases, your cancers will not treat, okay. So these things are the rational justification. Then comes the cultural justification. This is very simple thing. As you can see, the Buddhist people and the Hindu people, they are very they value environment in this sense, like they have a culture and religion like that. The Buddhist people, they go to the forests, etc., and they do their worships over there. They go close to the environment, and then they invent many things. And same is the case with the Hindu people. They use uh, their rivers and their oceans to to pour all the ashes of their which they call as chita, the ashes of their beloved ones, those who are dead. So they pour all the ash into those rivers, etc. Also, they um, drown their that gods, okay, the statues of their gods inside it. It is their culture, it is their religion. So when you value the environment, you can see that this tree gives back this much dollars worth of environmental benefits over the next 15 years. So obviously you will not cut it. Every day I supply oxygen for up to 4 people. Do you think I am worth saving? This is the recreational area, as you can see, okay. So these are some justifications, economic justifications, recreational and culture, etc. So now comes the environmental changes. Environmental changes are of 3 types. Number one is the irreversible changes, then is the cyclic changes, and then is the transient changes. Number one is the irreversible changes. These are those changes which cannot be reversed. As you can see, the example is the eutrophication. See, there is a eutrophication of the lake. Once the algae will, once you will pollute the lake body or the pond, it will start, the algae will start to grow, and once it will start to grow, then it will start to grow on and on and on until it will consume all the water of this lake and will turn it into a marsh first and then into a land piece, okay. So that's a natural process. This is known as ecological succession. I will not write it over here because there is no need for it. We will um, do that in detail, but there is a thing that it is an irreversible change. Once it happens, then it never go back, okay. Some changes are cyclic changes. For example, the annual climate change. In the summers you see the more and more heat is coming, more and more heat waves, okay, more and less rains and less frequent rains, and when it rains, it rains so intensely and with such a rate, with such a furiosity, like it is so furious. It comes with the storm, and it destroys everything, all the towns and uh, all the houses, as you have seen recently the Karachi issue. So these things happens, like these are the cyclic changes. Whenever season will come or that period will come, these changes will be faced, okay. Then is the transient change. Transient change is that change, for example droughts, which are due to any natural or human made disturbance, okay. Droughts are basically due to the scarcity of water. So when the water will decrease, water will be scarce, so what will happen, droughts will occur, okay. The area will be no more fertile, but it can be changed if the water is supplied back. But if water is not supplied back, it will convert to the irreversible change, and that area will be remain as a dried desert area, okay. So this is the third stage, is that one which can be reversed, or which can, or if not managed, it can become an irreversible change. As you can see over here, this is a droughted area, okay. The all the water has been withdrawal, and if not the water is delivered again, then it will be a dry area forever. Then you can see deforestation over here. It can be reforested if the people will manage it. Then comes the goals of environmental studies. So it deals with things like how nature works, okay, that is included in the ecology. We will study that. Then how environment affects nature, okay, how our environment affects the nature and natural cycles, how humans affect the environment, how to deal with the environmental problems, how to identify the environmental problems, and how to live more sustainably. See, this is the nature, and it has its own hydrological cycle, chemical cycle, biogeochemical cycles. They are going on, but the human effects, they can be very devastating, okay. You can see here the sustainable living. The sustainable living means living all together with respecting the environment, society, economic concerns. Then how to deal with the environmental problems. We will also discuss that to shake hands with the nature, to value the nature, to to bring our activities as they are, but just change the mode. We do not, environmental scientists do not suggest to stop the activities. They just say that change the mode, change the way you are doing it, make it more sustainable. For that will be good for you, and that will be good for your environment as well, okay. So this is a very simple and very beautiful example of reforestation. Then steps for mother nature. What is required? That is reforestation. And what will be protected? All the water resources and the wildlife habitat. So these are your to do tasks. Thank you so much. You have to do all these before you come to your classes. So that is all about the environment and environmental sciences. Now, in the next lecture, we will discuss how the multidisciplinary nature of the environmental sciences makes it a wide subject, and how many issues are covered in it, and how many solutions are given by each. Okay, so there are there are total 6 activities. The BS English class have done the first 2 things with me, but the BS Psychology class haven't done this with me. So you have to do all these 6 things, and then you will put in front of me, and then I will check that whether you are doing it right or not. And if you have any problem, you can ask in the comment box, as well as we will discuss in the class. So thank you so much, girls.